Welcome back, friends. We're ready to work with some clay right now. Hopefully you've gotten a slab of clay from me somehow in some kind of a plastic bag, and it's been kept in there nice and wet. We want it to be so it's firm a little bit, you know, not like a ball of mud or something like that, but wet enough that we can actually continue to work with it. So what a slab of clay is an even thickness of clay. That means it's not too wide and then getting smaller and then getting wide again, because it's really tricky. It's difficult to work with clay like that. So we've got a nice slab of clay that has a good even thickness to it. The best thing that you can do is put it on a board at your house, which most people don't have, but I have in my classroom, or on a piece of paper. The piece of paper is simply to have it not stick on your table or whatever you're working on. I am not going to use a piece of paper, and let me warn you, if paper gets stuck to the back of your clay, don't worry about it. You don't have to peel it off. It will dry and come off very, very easily once the clay is all dry. Or it just fires off, it burns off in the kiln, so it's nothing to be concerned about. So please don't worry if your wet clay has paper stuck to the back of it, okay? Don't worry about that. So what hopefully you've done is chosen to either have a heart pocket or an oval pocket or a rectangle pocket. And I have two patterns for you. What you're gonna do is try to fit the pattern on one slab of clay. It has to fit on one slab of clay because this is all the clay that you have. This is all the clay that my students in class have. So that would fit. That's the best way to do the heart one. The rectangle one can be tricky depending on how I get the clay from the clay company. So you might have to just make the pocket part of it a little bit smaller. You would still have a pocket. However, it's just a thinner pocket, not a wide pocket, and that's just fine. So a little bit cut off is no big deal. And if an oval can kind of be the same way, so fit your whole oval on one side, and then go ahead and put this on the other side. So if you have to cut it off, you're cutting off that flat part, not the rounded part. So it looks like this. So you decide and get your clay positioned on there. I'll use the oval pocket today, actually. So I put it on here, and then I use my butter knife or a cutting tool at home. You could use like a stick or something like this, but in class we use a fettling knife, which is like a thin butter knife, and we make sure that our knife is straight up and down, so we're not cutting like this and cutting the clay at a funny angle like that, because then you have thick and thin parts that are really bad. So you just want to make sure that they're straight up and down like this, and I'm going to cut around this way. Notice I'm not sawing either. A very typical mistake is kids get in here and they think, oh, I'm working so hard and I'm sawing. But when you go ahead and you saw clay like this, whoo, we get some nasty rough edges. When you cut smoothly, you get a nice smooth edge. Smoothly looks like tool all the way down, dragging it, touching your paper or your wood the whole time. You're actually dragging it. So we're going to think like a smart artist and work a little bit easier. I'll show you again. We've got the knife straight up and down like this. We're cutting. We're coming over here straight up and down so it's not angled side to side, and then cut. We'll do it over here again. Excellent. And then I can turn it again, and I can go like this and cut it so I have all of it straight. Now I have extra clay, which you can return to the classroom or make something else out of it. It's your choice as an artist. And I want to do some smoothing. These look rough, which they always do when we get done cutting. So I'm going to take my finger and smooth this out and make it a good looking oval. One thing you don't want to do at this point is squish. If you take your clay and you think you're smoothing and what you're doing is this, and squishing it down, you're going to have a problem, because that clay is so thin right now that it's going to break off before you can get it to school. Can't have that. So what I need for you to do is just smooth out this side, the edges, smooth out the top part, and make sure that your corners here feel good. Smooth it out any way you want to. Fantastic. Going around the edge like that. Feeling good. Awesome. And get it shaped out the way that you want to. The same thing goes for the pocket. We're going to take our pocket and smooth it out, not pinching. Pinching is the squishing. Smoothing is a one finger action. It's back and forth. Pinching goes like this, and we don't want pinching happen, so we're just smoothing it. Now I want to attach my pocket, so I have to boss around the clay a little bit. First of all, I need a fingerful of water, And I'm just going to get my clay a little bit wet right now. And you can do the same thing to this, to the back side of this. And when I go to put it down, it would stick. Well, I have to boss the clay. I want my pocket to stick out, so I'm going to bend it and make it so it just fits on here like that. Fantastic. Now, please, we don't have to smush, but you can go ahead and you can put your fingerprint in here if you want to. I'll just do something on this side. Fingerprint it if you want to get it stuck together. You can smooth it out so the top and the bottom become one. And when the top and the bottom become one, it looks very smooth then usually. So I'll show you two different ways to do it. The big thing is that when you pick up this pocket, that they're actually stuck. That's important because if they dry and they're not stuck together, they're just going to fall apart. So this is one side, how I've smoothed out that. Another idea is to leave it like this and to put your fingerprints in it. They both have a different look and you decide, and you can change your mind as you're working with the clay and do something different. Smooth out this pocket. This is so important. Smooth out this edge right here and don't pinch it. People pinch, 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 and the clay just gets crackier, cracky, 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 and then it just starts to crumble off, and pretty soon you have no more pocket and no more clay. So make sure that you're just smoothing like this. You can even add water to smooth, not very much, otherwise everything collapses, but a little bit of water to smooth. And get everything looking the way that you want. Then the next thing is to decorate it. Now, if this was my pocket, when I got done firing it and decorating it, I would stick stuff in here for decoration, like flowers or something. So when I do that, it covers up this a lot. So I'm going to focus my attention here, but you decide what you want to see. You can use a tool like this or a pencil, and you can very lightly draw into your clay if you want to. I'm just going to make like a big heart. I'm thinking of my students here, and maybe smaller hearts, and I could color these hearts different colors in a different class. We'll get rid of those chunks of clay. I don't want those chunks of clay stuck on there. I know it's winter now, and sometimes I start thinking about adding things like snowflakes on here. It's anything that you want to have on here to decorate. And then I also focus on decorating this part, which is if I had flowers in here or something, you would still be able to see them if I just decorated the edges. So I can pressing a design into your artwork is so much easier than drawing. Actually, drawing in clay is kind of tricky because you get all these little chunks that get stuck on there. So pressing works really well. You could do patterns using circles. The big thing is don't press so deeply that you go through the clay, or that you make, this is a pretty dark one over here. You can see how hard I went down. You just want to press right into the surface of it. And if you choose to decorate here, absolutely do it. You're the artist in charge. You know what you're using this for. So if you want to decorate here, great. The last thing that I'll have you do at home is you could either take a straw or a pencil, and I'm going to ask you to poke one hole in it, and that's so it hangs. So if you use a straw, the straw removes the clay, so it actually becomes a hole, which is kind of cool. However, a pencil would work if you're gentle enough to poke through and not rip the clay. The other option is give it to me wet, and I will do it, but it has to stay wet. So that not wet so it's flopping everywhere, but definitely wetter so I can still go through it. So either way, if you want it to hang, you need to put in the hole now. We have to plan ahead, so that's an important part. And then what you do is get this returned to me. It can dry out at this point, and you can return it to me. If you want to give it to me wet, I'll dry it in class. Then I will fire it in the kiln, and I'll return it to you to decorate. Okay, friends? Thanks a lot for watching. Have fun playing in clay and going 3D. Thanks. Bye.